of really exciting women ready to tell you about their career, how they've gotten to their job, what they've done, and a bit about how they got into what they're interested in. So you should have your workbook in front of you, and make sure you do, because you're going to take some notes. So page 1 and 2 of your notes for today are some tips for your STEM career, so some steps to help you out, and also a little bit of a career spotlight on myself and Amy, who are both the UK leads. Feel free to look at that in your own time, and you will hear more from Amy on that later on today. The next 2 pages are a little bit about the panel and about your facilitator, Paige, who will lead you through the session today. And number 3, so are the worksheets. Those are really important for you today. Those are the ones for you to focus on. Take your notes on those today, on the 3 different presenters that we have. And the rest of the pages are for some extra career advice. So nothing for you to have a look at today. You don't need to have a look at them. It's just if you're interested later on, you can have a look through and see some other jobs at Baker Hughes that might be of interest to you. So a couple of things for the session today. Make sure you have your tablet or your laptop out, because we're going to be using Mentimeter to answer some of the questions. Come with your questions as well as you're listening to the people talk. Think of the questions you want to ask. They're willing and ready to answer any questions you might have, so take the opportunity to do it just now. So what I'll do right now is I'll hand over to Claire facilitating your session today, and I'll let you get started.
That's great. I can see some of you guys joining the Menti now. So at the moment, how likely do you think you are to pick a career in STEM? Based on everything you've been doing at school and things that you've learned so far in Girls Get Set. Okay, we've got a couple of answers and we're about 50-50 whether we'd like to have a career in STEM. Keep answering the questions and we'll see. We'll see, yep, the numbers go up.
Maybe so far.
Yeah, quite a few of you, are maybe more positive about a career in STEM, which is good to see at this stage. Hopefully those of you who scored slightly lower in this, we can change your mind. We've got lots of interesting people to hear their career journeys. If you've not answered this question, we're about to jump to the next one. So we would like to know what you liked most about the masterclass from last month.
I think it might have even been November, Claire. I think it might have been
a
little bit longer because we had to postpone this session. So the last session you had with us, if you can remember that, girls.
So that was where Darren talked to you guys about how we might do oil exploration and how the Baker Hughes equipment will link into that process. And I remember you guys had lots of interesting questions. Good. I'm glad you thought it was interesting and there was lots of interactions. Yep, learning the uses of oil, that was a key part of that exercise, wasn't it? It's all coming back to me now as well. So you can keep typing in words. If you didn't manage to attend and someone's put it here, the sessions are recorded and on the Girls Get Set YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find them there. You can speak to your teacher or one of the mentors that are coming in to get that link, but if you search Girls Get Set on YouTube, you can find the channel quite easily. And it's good to hear that you guys are enjoying joining sessions with other schools as well. But for now, I will go back to the slides. So, like Laura said, I'll be facilitating today's panel discussion. My name's Claire Smith, and I work as a project quality engineer with Baker Hughes in the site that manufactures the subsea Christmas trees that you learned about in the previous session. So that is my day-to-day role, is being involved with the manufacturing of these trees. But we've got lots of other people to speak about their career journeys as well. So first of all, I'm going to hand over to Paige and hear about her career.
Hola, my name is Paige, and I'm one of the Topside software engineers at Baker Hughes. So being a Topside software engineer essentially means that I write code for everything that's above sea to communicate with equipment that's below sea. I'll speak a bit more about my career when we go on to the next slide, and kind of how I got into engineering. But first off, I just want to share 3 of my kind of key career goals with you. So one being that, I think we work for such a significant amount of our life, that these are the kind of priorities that I strive for, that are important for me. So the first being to work in a job that allows me to focus on personal development. The second is to work in a team that feels like family. You spend so much time with the people that you work with that it would be, nice to like them. And then the third is to just be proud of my work and my contributions. I also have a few fun facts. So recently, I won an award for Engineering Apprentice of the Year, where I competed against the whole of the south of the UK. I recently bought a van a few months ago, and I'm currently converting it into a camper van. And I also make pottery in my spare time. Can we go on to the next slide, please? So when I was doing my GCSEs, I had a passion for maths. Not only did I enjoy it, but I was really good at it. It was kind of a natural progression for me to want to get into STEM. However, I'm going to go off on a tangent and say that initially I actually went to college and studied music tech because I absolutely love music. However, when I finished college, I didn't know anybody in the industry, so I felt a little lost. I kind of felt like I'd hit this dead end because no one had advised me on what to do next. So I decided to switch things up, and instead I went back to college and I studied engineering. And I highlight this because I think if you're going to take anything away from this session, I want you to understand that you don't have to have it all figured out. You have your whole life to do that. And it's always okay to change your mind and do something else as well. So I always knew that I wanted to go to university, but I'm not sure if you're aware, in the UK, it's really expensive. So I never really thought that I'd be able to afford it. But one of my teachers at college, he suggested that I apply for an apprenticeship at BH. And within a few days, I got a call back and I got the job. So that's kind of how I kick-started my career path. And I've been working for Baker Hughes for the past 5 years. I worked full-time and then I studied part-time, and I graduated this summer from university, then applied for a permanent role, and became employed as a Topside software engineer. So on the apprenticeship side of things, so during that scheme, I went on a lot of rotations throughout the company, and this really identify where my strengths were, and it kind of taught me what I actually enjoyed doing as well. So I decided for me to stick to software and engineering and to strengthen my technical background, but I discovered that I really like to lead people. And so in the future, what I hope to do is go back to university, perhaps study a master's in kind of engineering management, and then slowly climb that corporate ladder. Next slide, please. So here are just a few pictures to basically just show you who is behind the engineer. So as I said previously, I love music. I'm always going to festivals and concerts and making new friends. On the lower left-hand side, you can see a picture of me crowd surfing at this metal festival that I went to during summer. I also mentioned that I love to make pottery, and that I'm working on my van. I'm also an avid reader and I love to travel. So I actually went to America this summer for my 25th, and I rented a pickup truck and I drove around the whole northeast of the US and spent my birthday in New York. And then on the right hand side, I've also just included some pictures of my friends and my family. And I essentially just wanted to share these like few snippets of my life because I think it's important to understand that anyone can become an engineer. And I think that having all these different personalities is what, helps to create that kind of welcoming and diverse environment. So thank you all for listening, and I'll pass you back over to Claire.
Thank you, Paige. Before I give you guys the opportunity to ask your own questions, I've got a couple of questions for you. See how much you were listening to what Paige was telling you. So does anyone remember what one of Paige's goals were? Can anyone remember Paige's new hobby? She spoke about it a couple of times. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask Paige just now? If you guys do think of any questions for Paige, we can always jump back. There'll be time later on in the session. And maybe hearing one of the other presenters will spark more ideas for questions. So next up, I'm going to hand over to Amy, and she will tell you a bit about her career journey and how she's got to where she is today.
Thank you, Claire, and hi to everyone joining us today. So as Claire said, my name is Amy. I really am delighted to meet you all today. Unfortunately, it's not in person, so let's work this virtually. And I want to share a little bit about my career journey with you. But before I start, though, I want to tell you a little bit about what I was like in school when I was your age. And I was the kind of girl, a bit like Paige, who liked music. I liked drama, I liked art. I was very creative. I sang in a choir, played a violin. And I chose those subjects to study when I was 14. However, when I was 15, I was asked through school to if I wanted a place on a 10-week Saturday course, and I got to try out things like wiring a plug, machining, welding, burning, and I absolutely loved it. I wanted to be like the boys that were doing the training. It was all boys doing the training. So I started to apply for apprenticeships. And at 16, after I'd finished my exams in school, I started a mechanical engineering apprenticeship. I don't know if I mentioned, but the school that I went to, the high school I went to, was all girls. And when I started my apprenticeship, I was the only girl out of 40 apprentices. And when I started in my department, I was the only girl out of 600 people in my department. And on the site that I was on, it was a very big site, there was 3,000 people, there were only 3 women. So it was a bit daunting at first, being in that position, but I persevered, and like I genuinely absolutely loved the choice I made for doing an apprenticeship. I went on to do a college university 1 day a week, so I got my degree and my master's, and for the next 13 years I did various different engineering jobs. So I was a mechanical engineer, an engineering inspector, I was a maintenance planning engineer, which means that I planned all of the work for the other people to do, which was quite handy. So I did lots of different roles, but I got to a point where I decided I wanted to change. And so I went and I tried lots of other jobs. So I've worked in procurement, which is like buying products for the company, marketing, which is, I want to say, back to the creative side of things, where you get to design and understand what customers want, and also strategy development. I'm not going to go too much into that one today, but I've come and product management as well. So I've worked in lots of different functions, but what I've done is been able to use all of the skills that I've learned across, starting with the engineering and using those skills and experiences and bringing those to each of the roles that I've done. I've been really lucky. I've been able to travel a lot through the different roles that I've had in engineering and the other roles. And I really hope that that continues, because I do love to travel and see the world. If I could just go on to my second and last slide, please, Claire. Thank you. A bit like Paige, I wanted to pop some pictures in. So in the top row, that's me in school when I was exactly your age. And then next to it is me learning to drive a forklift truck. I'm on the third picture in the middle. I am hundreds of feet up in the air on a blast furnace. If you're bored later and you want to Google what a blast furnace is, you'll soon know where I used to work. And the last one in the top row is me taking some of my team to go and visit one of our customers. I've got a passion for working with our customers, and that's JCB. I don't know if you've heard of JCB. You often see them on the side of your motorways. And in the middle row is a bit about me, really. That's me and my two boys. They're the same age as you are now and making decisions about what they want to do with their career. One of my children wants to follow in my footsteps. The other one doesn't, and that's okay. We can all make these different choices. I love volunteering. I like working in events. That's me under a Concorde there, or by a Concorde rather, in one of the events we did for work. Love traveling, as I said. That's me zip lining, and I absolutely love meeting animals as well as people. So you got a wallaby and a crocodile there as two of the pictures I've chosen. The bottom one and the bottom strip there is one that's really recent, and I've only been involved in Girls Get Set for just over a year, but I absolutely love working with girls like yourselves and not just talking about myself. I could do that all week, but also listening to you and understanding what your dreams and aspirations are. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know what you want right now. I mean, I went from loving art, which I still do, and being creative, to choosing a career in engineering, which has been an absolute foundation for me in everything I've done since. Your favourite subject doesn't have to be science or maths to enjoy engineering. You can't hate it, but it doesn't have to be a favourite subject necessarily. But Girls Get Set, really good program for you girls to engage with the schools, like you were just saying, and the other students, to get to know people like ourselves today, but also to really consider a career in STEM and get the most out of us as we're talking to you over the next few months as well. So that's me. I won't go on any longer, but thank you for having me, and if you've got any questions, happy to answer them. Thanks, Claire.
So while I give you a minute or so to think of some questions for Amy, I've got a couple of questions for you guys. So does anyone remember what animals Amy was holding in the photos that she shared? She helpfully told you as well, if you couldn't quite make them out. Does anyone remember what Amy's favourite subjects were in school? And does anyone remember what type of apprenticeship Amy did? This is a bit more tricky.
An apprenticeship is basically a training program where you are learning whilst, I'm going to say, on the job. So you're working for a company, but you're also being trained at the same time. And often you have, well, a path for a qualification at the same time. So it's very much a mix of learning with a company about what they do. It's about learning the skill or the trade. So whether that's mechanical, electrical, software, various different types of engineering, subjects, and then you also get time to go to college or university as well then and get a qualification alongside. But the best thing about apprenticeships is you get paid, so which I loved, and I'm sure Paige will give me a nod there. So not only does the company pay for your qualifications, they actually pay you to work for them as well while you're learning. So for myself and for Paige, really good choice, and an excellent opportunity as well if you're not going to do the qualifications university and then get that job after. There's lots of different routes. This is just ours.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Amy?
Do you know what? Okay, so here's where I gotta be really honest with you girls. Did I like university? They're the things I liked about university. I loved the people that I was in university with. Surprise, surprise. It was mainly male population, but I loved being in university. There were some of the topics and modules that I did, which I absolutely loved. But there was one or two topics which I found particularly difficult. And there was a time where I almost gave up. But a bit like Paige, what she commented earlier about finding people that are like family, finding your friends. I had an excellent group of friends and they encouraged me to continue to not to give up. And I am so glad that I didn't. So my degree was in mechanical engineering. My master's was in business management. So I took 2 different routes there. But yes, my master's I loved. Engineering I found particularly difficult with some subjects, but I am really glad that I did it. So perseverance and confidence that you can do it is it's really important. So it's not my full-time job, unfortunately. I'd love to do it full-time. So it's volunteering. But how did I get involved? Well, mainly because I was asked. So I'm quite a keen person. I like to network with different people, so meeting lots of people. And I'm quite passionate about encouraging girls to think about this kind of career. Girls Get Set, yeah, I was asked. I accepted straight away, but what I didn't expect was to love it as much as what I do. And the opportunities it gives, and just being able to interact with girls like yourselves. I do like a challenge. I do like a challenge, and I don't mind not fitting in. And that's okay. So if you don't always have to fit in, and sometimes it's good to take a little bit of a risk. And I felt like it was a considered risk, Yes, all my friends did what is the traditional route. So they did their exams, they stayed in school, they went to university, and they got jobs when they were about 23, 24 years old. But for me, I left school at 16, and it was a risk and a bit different, but you can do these things in life. And one of the biggest things for me is you can always change your mind. So you can choose a career path, and it's okay for it to be wavy. It doesn't have to be a straight line. For some people it works like that. It is a straight line, you can ask somebody and they can tell you that they can plot their career path from your age. But for me, it's never been like that. And I like to have opportunities and go for opportunities, take a little bit of risk, and do things that are a little bit different, and sometimes they can be really rewarding. So take a little bit of a risk and go for the challenges, girls.
That was excellent. Some good questions in there. We're going to move on to Paloma next.
Hello. Hola. Me llamo Paloma. My camera is not working today, so sorry for this. I am coming from a small city in the north of Spain. My passion for engineering was coming since I was younger, because my father was an engineer, and he was trying to show me what things he was doing. And then I decided, okay, this is what I want in my life. This kind of challenge, this kind of good things. So I studied the high school in my birthplace, where I started studying maths, science, physics, these subjects. My favorite one was always maths, but also the most difficult to understand to me. always was very difficult to understand for me. So when I finished high school, I decided to study chemical engineer at a university, Valladolid University. Why decided study engineering? The first one was because my father was one, and the second one was because this combined maths knowledge with creative thinking, and also was giving me the opportunity to explore, create, discover, all these things. So I carry on with the degree. This was 6 years full-time degree. In Spain is slightly different as it is in the UK. This gave me the opportunity to learn maths, science, engineering in depth. Still maths were a problem for me, but this have never stopped me. Also, during my degree, I had the opportunity to visit refineries around Spain. This was really good. I had the opportunity to see different petrochemicals companies, and this gave me, I say, okay, I need to work in this kind of company, so I am in the right degree. So when I finished to study my 6 years chemical engineering degree, then I decided to study a master. So my first decision was to move to Lisbon, that is in Portugal. This was to developing a personal interest. This was when I faced my first challenge in my life with different language, different culture, different, everything different. My family wasn't close, everything was different, so it was a big challenge in my life. But it was a really good opportunity, helped me to maturate very quickly, and also gave me the opportunity to learn a little bit a new language that always is not easy. In those days, I decided to come to the UK to carry on with my personal progression to study a master at Tisa University. I study petroleum engineering master. This gave me the opportunity to improve my English, but also to get a good job in the UK. Again, this was a big challenge to come to the UK, study in different country with different culture and completely different language, and also the northeast, the Geordie accent. This was a big challenge for me, but never stop, never give up. So then I got my first role in the UK. I was working for a company in Washington. And after 3 years with, this was a graduate job. After 3 years, I got a job and joined to Baker Hughes. My current role is advanced manufacturing engineer. I am working in a company where I have the opportunity to learn about petroleum market, how it's changing the market, facing challenge all the time, and working with really good people. So this is, next slide, please.
There's a bit of a video on that side that was playing. Let's see if it'll skip to the next one. There we go.
So I am coming from a big family. I have 4 sisters and myself, so we are 5. We are close each other, but they are in Spain. So, but with WhatsApp now, we are in contact all the time. So I love to travel to Spain to stay with my family. I can do it all the time, but if I have, I try. Also, one of my hobbies is traveling around the world. Sometimes it's because my work. Sometimes it's because I can with my family. I have the opportunity to travel with my family, I have a daughter. She's 10 now. I am learning now what is the meaning of teenager. Yes, I am trying to enjoy with my family and traveling around. This is everything. So thank you for listening to me. Gracias. Si tenéis alguna pregunta. Any questions?
Thank you, Paloma. Will you think of questions? Again, I've got a couple for you guys. Can you remember which subjects that Paloma struggled with most at school? Which ones she found the most difficult? Can anyone remember any of the universities that Paloma went to? Or if you can't remember the names of them, maybe where they were, which country they were in. And does anyone remember which country that Paloma lives in now? And maybe even which city? So does anyone have any questions for Paloma? Her career journey was a little bit different from Amy and Paige's in that she knew while she was at school that she wanted to be an engineer. So she was always following that career path.
I decided to come to the UK mainly to learn English, and then I got the opportunity to stay here with a good job. So now I don't want to back to Spain for now. I miss the weather, but more than this, the UK is my home now.
Yes.
The change is the most difficult change is a different country and different language. But I want it. It's something I was looking for in my life. I think it's an opportunity to learn. Never is easy to learn a second language. It's something I think is very difficult. But it's something that if you try, you can. So wasn't difficult to change the university because my path for me was clear from the beginning. So I knew what things I wanted to do. I had the opportunity to study in different countries. Not everybody can do it. But if you can, it's my recommendation. You will learn a lot about different cultures.